Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The last laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm 29 years old. I work as a data analyst for a mid-sized consulting firm in Denver, and I'd spent the last 3 days in Washington, D.C. at the most boring conference imaginable. All I wanted was to get home, take off these heels, and sleep for 12 hours straight. Reagan National Airport was packed that Tuesday afternoon. I'd grabbed my usual pre-flight ritual, an overpriced latte and a magazine I'd never finish, and settled into a seat at gate C-24. My flight to Denver was scheduled to board in 40 minutes. I pulled out my phone to text my roommate that I'd be home by 9. That's when the first text came through. The notification showed it was from American Airlines, with their logo and everything. Gate change for flight 2847. Proceed to gate G17 immediately. Boarding in 20 minutes. I frowned at my phone. G17? That was in a completely different terminal. I looked up at the departure board. My flight still showed at C-24, boarding at 4:15 p.m. No gate change listed. Must be a glitch in their system. I'd gotten weird airline texts before, duplicate boarding passes, delay notifications that never materialized. I decided to check with the gate agent before hauling my luggage across the airport for no reason. I stood, rolling my carry-on behind me, and had taken maybe 3 steps when my phone buzzed again. Sarah Mitchell. This is not a drill. Do not board at C-24. Go to G-17 now. My hand froze. The text knew my name. My full name. I stopped walking, commuters streaming past me on both sides. My heart started beating faster. How did they know my name? Airlines sent generic notifications. Passenger, or traveler, or nothing at all. Never your actual name in the body of the text. I looked at the sender again. The logo looked right. The number looked official. But something felt wrong. A woman bumped into me with her roller bag. Sorry, excuse me, she muttered, not even looking up from her own phone. I stood there for another moment, phone in hand, staring at those words. This is not a drill. Before we go further, make sure you subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. My rational brain said this was spam. Some kind of phishing scam. Delete it and move on. But my instinct said something different. I'd learned to trust my gut 2 years ago when I walked out of a parking garage because something felt off. Turned out 3 women had been assaulted there that same month. My mom always said I had good instincts. You're like your father, she'd tell me. He always knew when something wasn't right. My father died when I was 7. Mom never talked much about him except to say he'd been careful and aware. I'd always assumed he was just cautious by nature. I made a decision. I turned away from gate C-24 and followed the signs toward the G terminal. It meant going back through a connector hallway, past a food court, and down a long corridor that was undergoing renovation. Half the lights were covered with plastic sheeting. My phone buzzed a 3rd time as I walked. Good. Keep walking. Don't stop. Don't talk to anyone. My hands started shaking. This wasn't the airline. This was someone watching me. Right now. I spun around, searching the crowd. Business travelers. Families. A man in a suit reading his tablet. A woman with 3 kids begging for McDonald's. Nobody looked at me. Nobody paid me any attention. But someone was watching. I walked faster, my carry-on wheels clicking rapidly against the tile floor. The corridor to G terminal was less crowded. Most of the foot traffic stayed in the main terminals. G was for regional flights, smaller planes, fewer passengers. The renovation made it worse. Plastic barriers created a narrow pathway. Exposed wiring hung from the ceiling panels. My footsteps echoed. Another text, almost there. Gate G17 at the end. I could see it now. The G terminal opened up ahead, but it looked different from the others. Darker. Quieter. Several gates were closed, their seating areas empty. G17 was at the very end of the terminal, past G15 and G16, both of which had signs reading, "Gate closed for maintenance." This was insane. I should turn around. Go back to C-24. Board my normal flight. But my feet kept moving forward. Gate G17 was empty. Completely empty. No gate agent. No desk. No passengers. Just rows of empty chairs and a darkened doorway leading to the jetway. My phone buzzed. Sit down. 3rd row. Window seat. Wait. I should have run. Every rational part of my brain screamed at me to get out of there. Instead, I walked to the 3rd row and sat in the window seat, positioning my carry-on beside me like a barrier. The terminal was silent except for the distant hum of the airport and occasional PA announcements echoing from other sections. I watched the empty corridor I'd just walked through. Nobody came. Nobody passed by. 5 minutes went by. Then 10. My phone stayed silent. I pulled up the American Airlines app. My flight was still listed at gate C-24, now showing boarding in green letters. I was missing my flight. I was sitting in an abandoned gate in a closed terminal because of text messages from God knows who. I stood up. This was stupid. I was leaving. Sarah Mitchell? I jumped, nearly dropping my phone. A woman stood 10 feet away. I hadn't heard her approach. She wore an airport security uniform, complete with radio and badge. Late 30s, dark hair pulled back, alert eyes that scanned me quickly. Why yes? My voice cracked. I need you to stay calm and come with me. Right now. What's going on? Who sent those texts? I did. She stepped closer, her hand resting near her radio. I'm Special Agent Rebecca Torres, FBI. We don't have much time. FBI? My legs felt weak. I don't understand. Your flight at C-24, it can't take off. There's a device on board. We've been tracking 3 individuals who planted it, and they're watching the gates. They know what you look like, Sarah. They know you're supposed to be on that plane. The words hit me like cold water. A device? You mean I can't say more here. Why me? I'm nobody. I analyze market data for consulting firms. I haven't done anything, this isn't about you. Torres moved beside me, her body angled to keep watching both directions. It's about your father. Everything stopped. My father's been dead for 22 years. Your father was a federal informant, Sarah. He helped us dismantle a domestic extremist cell in 2003. We thought we got everyone, but 3 members went underground. They've been planning this for 2 decades. Shemad my ice. They want revenge. They want to hurt the families of everyone who helped us. Your mother's death last year put you back on their radar. My mother? She died of cancer 8 months ago. I'd been so focused on grief and settling her estate that I hadn't thought. The estate, I whispered. I had to submit all those documents. Death certificates. Probate paperwork. It's all public record. Yes. They found you through that. They've been tracking your travel for 3 months. This conference, this flight, they knew exactly where you'd be. Torres touched her radio. We need to move. Now. She started walking, expecting me to follow. I grabbed my carry-on and hurried after her, my mind reeling. My father wasn't just careful. He was an informant. He'd helped the FBI. And now people wanted to kill me because of it. Torres led me away from G17, but not back the way I'd come. She pushed through a door marked "Authorized Personnel Only" and into a stark concrete stairwell. Our footsteps echoed as we descended 2 flights. Where are we going? Safe room. Airport substructure. We have a team monitoring the situation. She pushed through another door into a fluorescent-lit hallway that looked nothing like the public airport. Gray walls. Exposed pipes. The smell of industrial cleaning products. We passed maintenance equipment, storage rooms, and a break room where 2 TSA agents looked up in surprise. Torres flashed her badge and they nodded, returning to their coffee. At the end of the hallway, she stopped at a door with a keypad. She entered a code and pushed it open. Inside was organized chaos. 3 people sat at laptops, headsets on, watching multiple screens showing various airport security feeds. Radio chatter filled the air. A tall man in tactical gear looked up when we entered. This is Sarah Mitchell, Torres announced. Sarah, this is Special Agent Marcus Reed. He's running the operation. Reed was maybe 45, with gray at his temples and the kind of face that had seen too much. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. Glad you listened to the texts. Saved us from having to extract you more publicly. You sent them? Torres did. We couldn't approach you directly, they're watching C-24 too closely. We needed you to move without causing a scene. He gestured to the screens. Take a look. One screen showed gate C-24. My gate. Passengers were boarding, filing down the jetway with their luggage. Everything looked normal. Except it wasn't. Reed pointed to another screen showing a different angle. See those 3 men? Back row, near the windows? I squinted. 3 men sat separately, but something about their positioning looked coordinated. They weren't looking at their phones. They were watching. Scanning the crowd. They're the spotters, Reed explained. Making sure their targets board. We've identified 2 other passengers on that flight who are connected to cases your father helped us with. The device is in the overhead bin, row 18. Timed detonator, set to go off 30 minutes into the flight, right over West Virginia. My stomach turned. 30 minutes. The plane would be at cruising altitude. Everyone would. We can't just stop the plane? My voice came out strangled. Arrest them? Get everyone off? If we move too early, we lose the network. These 3 are foot soldiers. We need them to lead us to the leadership, the bomb maker, the financial support. This cell has been dormant for 20 years. This is our one chance to dismantle the entire operation. So you're using those passengers as bait? Horror washed over me. You're going to let that plane take off? No. Torres stepped beside me. We're going to defuse the device in flight. We have an undercover air marshal on board, she's sitting in row 17. Once they're airborne and the spotters relax, she'll secure it. But we need everything to look normal. We need these three to think their plan is working. And me? Where do I fit in? Reed's expression softened slightly. You were supposed to die today, Sarah. Your father's death was officially ruled a car accident in 2003, but we've always suspected this cell had him killed. They've waited 2 decades to finish the job, to wipe out the families of everyone who stood against them. If you're dead, they'll think they're succeeding. They'll get sloppy. The room felt too small. Too hot. I couldn't breathe. You want to fake my death? Eventually, yes. But right now, we just need you to disappear. Stay off their radar while we follow this through. One of the analysts at a laptop called out, Flight 2847 is pushing back from the gate. Everyone's attention snapped to the screens. The plane slowly reversed from the jetway. On another monitor, the 3 spotters stood, moving toward the terminal exit. They'd done their job. Their targets were aboard. Team 2, stay with them, Reed spoke into his radio. Team 3, maintain position at baggage claim. Team 4, you're clear to move into position at. An alarm cut through the room. One of the analysts swore. We have a problem. Reed moved to her screen. What is it? 4th spotter. We missed one. He's at gate G17. My blood went cold. Gate G17. Where I'd been sitting 5 minutes ago. The screen showed a man in a dark jacket walking slowly through the G terminal, scanning the empty gates. He looked confused, checking his phone, looking around. He was supposed to confirm Mitchell boarded, the analyst said. He's texting someone right now, probably reporting that she's not there. Torres grabbed my arm. We need to move you. Now. But Reed held up his hand. Wait. If we move her, they'll track the movement. Security cameras, badge scans, they've probably hacked into airport security. They'll know we grabbed her. So what do we do? Torres demanded. Reed looked at me, his expression calculating. How good are you at playing dead? 20 minutes later, I was lying on a cold stretcher with a sheet over my face. The plan was insane. Absolutely insane. But Reed insisted it was the only way to make the cell think they succeeded while buying us time. Torres had coached me quickly, shallow breaths. Don't move. Don't react to anything. We'll get you out of here within 30 minutes. They'd staged it at gate C24. Torres had radioed airport security with a fake medical emergency, a passenger collapsed, possible cardiac event, paramedics needed immediately. I'd walked back through the secure corridors, staying out of camera range, until we reached the boarding area. Now I lay on the stretcher while airport paramedics, actually FBI agents, wheeled me through the terminal. Through the sheet, I could see shadows, hear the murmur of concerned travelers, feel the vibrations as we moved. Make way, please. Medical emergency. Step aside. The wheels squeaked. Someone's child asked, Mommy, is that lady dead? Shoo, don't stare. We moved through the terminal, down an elevator, through corridors I couldn't see. Finally, the movement stopped. I heard a door close. Voices. Clear. The sheet came off my face. I gasped, sucking in air, my heart pounding. We were in what looked like an airport medical facility. Torres stood over me, her expression grim. The 4th spotter saw the whole thing. He's already texted confirmation to his network, target neutralized, heart attack at gate. She helped me sit up. They think you're dead. What about the plane? My voice shook. Is everyone okay? Air Marshal secured the device. Bomb squad confirmed it's neutralized. Passengers don't even know anything happened. Flight will land on schedule in Denver. Torres handed me a bottle of water. The 3 spotters just met up with 2 more cell members at a parking garage in Crystal City. We have surveillance teams on all of them. Reed entered the room, speaking into his phone. Yes, sir. Target is secure. Network is mobilizing. We'll have eyes on at least 8 members by tonight. He hung up and looked at me. How are you holding up? I don't know. I took a shaky sip of water. This doesn't feel real. This morning I was at a conference. Now I'm faking my death and my father was, what? A hero? A spy? An informant, Reed corrected. He wasn't undercover. He was a civilian who saw something wrong and decided to do something about it. He worked in logistics at a shipping company. Started noticing irregularities, weapons shipments, falsified manifests. He came to us in 2002, right after September 11th. He was terrified, but he did it anyway. Mom never told me. Tears burned my eyes. 22 years. She never said a word. She was protecting you. The deal your father made, he testified, helped us arrest 17 people, and in exchange, his family stayed safe. New identities weren't necessary because the cell leaders went to prison. We thought it was over. Reed sat down across from me. We were wrong. 3 members weren't in the country when we made the arrests. They've been rebuilding, recruiting, planning this revenge for 2 decades. You and 6 other families were on their list. Were? 2 families are already in protective custody. We warned them last week. 1 family moved to Australia 3 years ago, they're safe. 2 more we're monitoring. He paused. 1 couple was killed in a car accident last month. We thought it was legitimate. Now we're not so sure. The weight of it crushed down on me. People were dead. More people were going to die. All because my father did the right thing. What happens now? I asked quietly. Now we follow the network. The spotters will report back to their handlers. The handlers will report to the cell leaders. We track everyone, map the network, identify the bomb maker and the financiers. Then we take them all down at once. Reed leaned forward. But that takes time. Weeks, maybe months. We need to keep you safe in the meantime. Witness protection? If necessary. But first, we need to see how they react to your death. If they believe it, if they move on, you might be able to resume your life with protection. If they suspect something, we'll have to go deeper. Torres's radio crackled. She stepped away to respond, then turned back to us. Flight 2847 just landed in Denver. All passengers safe. Local FBI is ready to take possession of the device for analysis. Relief flooded through me so intensely I almost started crying. Those people were safe. They'd never know how close they came. They'd complain about the cramped seats and overpriced drinks and get on with their lives. Because someone sent me a text message. Who actually sent those texts? I asked Torres. How did you know to warn me? She exchanged a glance with Reed. He nodded. Your mother, Torres said softly. Before she died, she contacted us. She'd been tracking news stories about your father's case, and she noticed something. 2 of the families connected to the trial had died in accidents within 6 months of each other. She thought it was suspicious. She asked us to watch over you after she was gone. My chest tightened. Mom knew. She always knew. She spent 20 years making sure you were safe. When she got her diagnosis, her biggest fear was leaving you unprotected. Torres's voice was gentle. She made us promise to keep you safe. The text messages were her idea, actually. She said you'd respond better to action than explanation. Sarah doesn't trust words, she told us. She trusts her gut. The tears came then. I couldn't stop them. My mother had protected me from beyond the grave. She'd spent her last months making sure I'd be warned, be saved, be kept alive. Reed gave me a moment, then spoke again. The network is moving fast now. They think they've succeeded with you. They'll probably go after the next family within days. We need to be ready. What do you need from me? Right now? Stay here. Stay safe. Let us work. He stood. We have a secure apartment nearby. You'll stay there with protective custody until we wrap this up. Shouldn't be more than 72 hours. But it wasn't 72 hours. It was 6 days. 6 days in a bland apartment with 2 agents rotating shifts outside my door. 6 days of watching news reports about myself. Sarah Mitchell, 29, died of sudden cardiac arrest at Reagan National Airport on Tuesday. My company released a statement. My roommate was interviewed, crying on camera. It was surreal and horrible. But it worked. The cell believed I was dead. They moved on to their next target, a family in Ohio. But this time, the FBI was ready. They tracked the spotters, followed the bomb maker, identified the financiers. On the 6th day, coordinated raids across 4 states arrested 23 people connected to the network. Reed came to the apartment that evening with Torres. They both looked exhausted but satisfied. It's over, Reed said. We got them all. The leadership, the bomb maker, the financial network. Everything. I sat on the couch, hardly believing it. All of them? Everyone we could identify. There might be sympathizers out there, people who agreed with their ideology but weren't actively involved. But the operational cell is done. The immediate threat to you and the other families is eliminated. So I can go home? Torres sat beside me. Yes. But we need to handle your resurrection carefully. We're going to release a statement that initial reports were wrong. You collapsed but survived, spent a week in the hospital under observation. Your privacy was protected due to medical laws. It'll be weird, but people will accept it. And then? Then you go back to your life. Reed's expression was serious. But with awareness. These people targeted you because of your father's courage. That courage saved lives, both 20 years ago and today. You carry that legacy, Sarah. Don't ever forget that you're stronger than you think. 3 weeks later, I stood in front of my father's grave for the first time in years. The headstone was simple, David Mitchell. Beloved husband and father. I placed flowers at the base and sat on the grass. I know now, Dad. I know what you did. I know why Mom was always so careful, always so protective. I know you were brave. The cemetery was quiet except for birds and distant traffic. I stayed there for a long time, thinking about courage and sacrifice and the legacy we leave behind. My phone buzzed. A text from Torres: sentencing hearing is next month. Would you like to give a victim impact statement? I typed back, yes. Those people had tried to kill me because my father stood against them. They'd murdered others, terrorized families, spent 2 decades planning revenge. They needed to hear from the daughter of the man who helped stop them the first time. I walked back to my car, passing other graves, other families visiting their lost ones. At the parking lot, a woman smiled at me, airport security uniform, dark hair pulled back. Torres, off duty, visiting someone of her own. We nodded at each other. 2 women connected by violence and survival, by fathers who made hard choices and mothers who protected their children. She'd saved my life with a text message. I'd trusted my instinct and survived. Thank you, I called out. She paused. You did the hard part. You listened. Not everyone does. My mom taught me well. She did. Torres smiled. Stay safe, Sarah. You too. I drove home as the sun set over Denver, painting the mountains gold and purple. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it 3 weeks ago, coffee mug still in the sink, unread mail on the counter, my roommate's concerned texts piling up. But everything was different. I understood now why my mother never dated after Dad died, why she always checked the locks twice, why she made me take self-defense classes and learn to trust my instincts. She was protecting me from shadows I didn't know existed. And it worked. The doorbell rang. I checked the peephole, my roommate, holding a grocery bag and wine. I let her in and she threw her arms around me. Oh my God, Sarah. I thought you were dead. I literally planned your funeral in my head. Sorry. Medical privacy laws, they wouldn't let me. I don't care. You're alive. That's all that matters. She pulled back, studying my face. What actually happened? The news said cardiac event, but you're 29 and healthy. That doesn't just happen. I thought about what I could say, what I should say. Reed had advised keeping details minimal. Turns out I have a genetic condition. It's manageable now, but it was scary. She accepted this, hugging me again. Well, I'm glad you're okay. And I'm never letting you travel alone again. We spent the evening catching up, drinking wine, pretending everything was normal. But when she left and I was alone again, I pulled up my email. Torres had sent me a file, the official report on the operation. 23 arrests. 3 bombs prevented. 7 families protected. All because my father, a logistics worker at a shipping company, noticed something wrong and made a choice. All because my mother spent her last months making sure I'd be warned. All because I trusted a text message from a stranger. If this story moved you, subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The lesson I learned isn't complicated: trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, it probably is. When someone warns you, listen. The world has more dangers than we see, but it also has more protectors than we know. My father was one. My mother was one. Agent Torres was one. And that day at the airport, when I chose to walk away from gate C-24 and trust a warning from an unknown number, I learned I could be one too. Small choices save lives. Remember that.